Almost half of cyber attacks target small businesses, and yet most small businesses don't have a dedicated IT team, let alone a cybersecurity expert. If security feels overwhelming, you're not alone, and you're not helpless. I'll walk you through 5 critical areas where small businesses are often vulnerable, and what you can do about it. After more than 3 decades in the tech industry, I started IT Multiply to help growing businesses maximize their IT and multiply their success. So let's talk about cybersecurity. Mistake 1, you don't know what you have. If you don't know what you've got, you can't protect it. Most small businesses don't have a full and accurate record of their devices, software, data, cloud services, and users. That leaves you exposed. Start by listing all devices, apps, cloud platforms, everything you've got. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the more complete, the better it is. And by the way, during this process, watch out for shadow IT. That's a name for tools and services which workers adopt on their own. Often these are file storage and sharing services like Dropbox, or using personal email for business purposes. It often reveals gaps in your tools and workflows that can lead you to process improvements if you're paying attention. But in the meantime, it's a big security gap. You can't secure it if you don't know it's there. Number 2, weak links in identity and access management. Let's talk about passwords and access control in general. If you have systems where everyone just uses the same login, or processes that require you to share usernames and passwords, you have a problem. Weak identity management is one of the most common and most avoidable security issues that I see in small businesses. Here's what it should look like. Every employee has their own login for every system they use. Their access is limited to what they actually need. When someone leaves the company, their access gets shut off that day. Also, you're using 2-factor authentication on at least your email, accounting software, and cloud storage. 2FA is one of the easiest ways to block a bad actor, even if your password leaks. Sound like overkill? It's not. It's basic digital security hygiene. And while we're here, let's talk about password reuse. It's a huge security problem, but it seems to also be human nature. That's why password managers are so important. They generate and store strong, unique passwords so that you don't have to remember them. Bitwarden is my personal choice. LastPass is another option. There's a classic example of password reuse gone wrong, documented in the book We Are Anonymous by Parmi Olson. A great read, but it will not restore your faith in humanity. There's a section there that revolves around Aaron Barr, the CEO of HB Gary Federal. He managed to get on the wrong side of the hacker group Anonymous, and they targeted him, extracted and decrypted some database entries. And by the way, they did this by exploiting an unpatched bug, which we'll talk about in a minute. Within this text was Aaron's password to manage the website. They immediately tried using that password to access his company email account, and it worked because he had reused that password. And because of that, they were able to exploit this low security and low risk website, but gain access to probably the most critical and sensitive account that any of us have, our email. Keep in mind that Aaron was the CEO of a cybersecurity firm working on government contracts. He absolutely knew better, but it gets worse. He had continued to reuse that same password on many different accounts. In no time, the hackers had full access to his Twitter, Flickr, Facebook accounts, Yahoo, even World of Warcraft. This was 2011 after all. And what have we learned in the decade and a half since then? Well, not enough, but definitely don't reuse your passwords. Number 3, unpatched equals unprotected. Hackers usually don't start by brute forcing their way in. First, they just try to log in with some credentials. And when they can't do that, because you are following secure password practices, they exploit known bugs. If you're behind on updates, you're leaving that door wide open. This includes operating systems, firmware, and devices like firewalls and Wi-Fi routers. Remember that story about HB Gary? That's how his password was compromised. A known bug in their web hosting software went unpatched. If that bug had been patched, that massive attack and the huge fallout from that might have been avoided. So schedule regular update checks for all of your devices and enable those updates to be automatic wherever possible. Number 4, everyone has data, not everyone secures it. You may not think of yourself as a data company, but I guarantee that you store, use, and possibly even transmit sensitive data. Customer records, order histories, billing information, internal documents, HR files, and payroll. Without proper backup, encryption, and access controls, you are one accident, breach, or disgruntled employee away from disaster. So make sure your data is backed up securely and can be restored quickly. You need to test those backups by restoring them. Encrypt your sensitive files and limit who can access specific things. Number 5, security isn't just a tech problem, it's a people problem. All of the security technology that we've discussed is very helpful. However, human error is still the #1 cause of breaches. Phishing, unsafe browsing, poor password habits. Your team needs guidance. Provide short, frequent security awareness reminders and training. And encourage people to speak up when something doesn't feel right. Where to start? This can feel like a lot. But the good news is, you don't need to fix everything immediately. This is a process in which every step makes you a little bit safer. I've put together a simple worksheet and guide to help you figure out where your security is on track and where you need to focus some additional attention. It's free, it's practical, and it's written for regular people. No security expertise required. If you want a second opinion on this or some help getting through this process and evaluation, I offer security reviews and planning sessions, along with other technical services like virtual CTO and leadership mentoring. So feel free to reach out anytime. I'd be happy to help. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you.
If you'd like to download the Small Business IT Security Assessment Guide and Worksheet, visit itmultiply.com or use the links in this video's description.